Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Joseph Shirizzi. I'm a junior studying computer science, and I'm the founder of Fourth Wave Studios. We're focused on building augmented reality apps for education services using true dynamic generation, and we'll get to what that means in a little bit. First, though, why Fourth Wave? Well, the first wave was personal computers, right? It's a new medium, changes everything for everybody. We get access to a lot of different information with the internet in the second wave. The third wave is everybody gets all that technology all together in your pocket at all times, smartphones. And on each of these different waves, we get a whole bunch of new big companies that are taking this new medium and doing really interesting things with it. So we get Apple and Microsoft on the first wave, and then we move up, we get Google. We have mobile, now we have Uber everywhere, and we're just starting to see the beginning of the fourth wave, the virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality wave. And it's just starting. Last year for Christmas, one of the hottest items was virtual reality viewers. Pokemon Go is the first mainstream AR game and was the first app to ever reach $500 million in sales in that amount of time. So we're really starting to see the impact in a lot of different sectors. And so what we're really focused on right now with Fourth Wave Studios is education. So how can we use this new medium to visualize existing materials better, to gain better understanding in the classroom in terms of education, and then ultimately, how can we help people learn more with this new kind of medium, with new visualizations? So here's the first problem that we're tackling in education, chemistry. You get this line drawing, right? And both of these pictures are both vitamin E. And they don't really look that similar, but it's really important for understanding higher level chemistry concepts, all the shape and molecular geometry of these molecules. So you get this sort of flat line drawing in your textbook, and maybe you get a flat 3D render of it that's next to it, but you're not really gaining very much understanding of the geometry from either of these pictures. So it sort of looks like there's a long tail on the line drawing picture, and that's not really what happens because of polarity of the molecule. It bends over, and to really succeed in upper level chemistry courses, you have to understand why that happens. So we're working very closely with the chemistry department. One of my advisors is Dr. McClary, who's been teaching chemistry for a number of years here. And so she acknowledges that this is a really big issue in chemistry classrooms, people being able to visualize and understand the shape and geometry of molecules. So we're tackling this problem. And with her help, we're getting a lot of good feedback on our current prototype about what other features we can add to help students learn more and be able to better visualize these sort of things. So the current solution for visualizing molecules in a 3D way is you buy this little kit. I surveyed 45 students at Johns Hopkins University. Maybe some of you took chemistry classes a number of years ago and remember using something similar to this. It hasn't changed. Students that I surveyed spent anywhere from $12 to $40 on this little kit of little plastic balls and stick, and you spend all this time, you plug them all in together. You don't know if your molecule is assembled correctly, and then you have to take it apart to build the next one, right? So we want to fix that. We want to be able to take a line drawing in our textbook, be able to use a mobile app to just look at it right through our phone, and then be able to generate a 3D model of that molecule so that we can visualize it in real time and interact with it in a 3D space and really gain a better understanding. So I just want to show a quick video of our working prototype that we have right now. Come over here. So we open our chemistry textbook, we find the line drawing in it, and then it generates a 3D model of that molecule that it maps to a 3D space. It maps to a location in space that we can follow around. We can view it from any angle and really gain a better understanding of what that molecule actually looks like. And so this is very different from other AR platforms that exist right now because we're actually generating that molecule. It's not stored anywhere on our device. And again, this video is just taken through any smartphone. So we have the app, works on iOS or Android, and So we're reaching a lot more people. We don't have to have a heads-up display or anything like that. It's just straight from your phone. So how is our technology better than anything that exists right now? Well, currently, if you want to build an augmented reality app, you're going to have a huge server. It's going to store all of your 3D models, all of the things that you want to bring up to visualize up in the cloud. And then when you find a target, you're going to pull each one of those, right? And so that really limits what we can do with AR, because we can't use existing materials with that. We have to design the textbook specifically for that so we can make those targets, right? And so with the platform that we're developing and the technology that we're using, we're able to dynamically generate molecules and hopefully to expand from there and solve other problems with that. So we use some existing computer vision technologies to identify each atom in the molecule, decide what those are, decide where they go in the 3D space using some physics generation tools, and then using our advanced scripting algorithms that I've come up with myself that I've been working on for months, we generate that molecule dynamically. And so that's really special technology that doesn't exist anywhere else, and I think has a really large potential to solve a lot of different problems that we have. So our first customers are going to be chemistry students. We're working closely with the department. They use existing materials right now to help teach inside the classrooms, and then there's premium versions of those materials online that they get for free in the classroom, and then the student learns about them, and they're able to go online and pay for that later. So we're going to sort of follow that business model and charge $10 for a freemium service that has a lot of extra features, and we're working with the department to decide what those are, but sort of visualizing bond shape and polarity and the bond angles in molecules and stuff, which are really important to advanced topics in chemistry. And then at the same time, we're going to be developing strategic partnerships with larger education companies, with textbooks manufacturers, who are always looking, to make their textbooks more proprietary. And adding this sort of new technology is definitely something that will help them achieve their goals as well. So we're set to launch in the fall at GW. There's 1,200 chemistry students each semester here, and then in the spring expand to 3 other schools. And we're really focused at this point on getting as much feedback as we can, at seeing how people are using this, and how visualization in general can be made better for learning. And so what sort of things can we do with that? And so we're really going to be focusing on the technology aspect as well, and working to perfect the technology that we have going. So what we need this year is somebody with sales experience in the education industry to help us develop those partnerships, make those strategic connections early on, so that when we develop more products and we want to expand through education away from chemistry and into other fields, that we already have those going, and we can use the modular design of our technology to really make that happen much quicker and with lower development costs than other platforms. So I'm also going to need help from a junior developer to finish up the features on the chemistry app this summer and get that ready for launch in the fall at GW. So I estimate this will be about $80,000 in 2017 to hire those individuals, and also about $5,000 in premium development costs for Unity and a few other premium libraries that I'm using to develop the product. So future plans, like I said, we're really going to perfect this technology of dynamic generation and make so many more things with AR possible that aren't possible right now. And the future goal is to become the platform for dynamic generation for AR, because we have a lot of existing materials right now, and we have a lot of things. We don't want to have to redesign textbooks, redesign blueprints, redesign scans that you get from your doctor when you have a broken leg. We just want to be able to visualize all of these things better. And so the way that we're going to be able to do that is with generation and not storing things far away in the cloud. So it's really essential to the forward progression of AR. So some of the other examples that I mentioned, maybe your doctor hands you a scan of your broken leg, and you don't know what that means. So you're able to visualize it in 3D and understand that better. Or you have a lot of existing blueprints of buildings, and you can just dynamically generate those. So there's really a lot of different possibilities we can go with this technology once we get there. And it's really going to be able to push the bounds of AR and bring things to life. Thank you. I'll take any questions you have. Yes?
Make sure I understand it. So let's say I'm a chemistry textbook, right?
Yes.
So there's a molecular diagram on the textbook.
Correct.
You're saying the app would just be able to take a forward over that, just take a snapshot, and it would convert that into 3D?
Correct.
Right.
Yes, that's what we have working already as our prototype. And then I'm working now to add more features to it so that you can see the angles between the bonds and some other things that will help students immensely.
I'm impressed, not just with your great presentation, Joseph.
Thank you.
Very, very good, but with the fact that you're personally involved in the technology and you're developing this yourself, where you really understand it. I'm worried, though, that Tim Cook and Apple, who have identified augmented reality as their future, might buy you or somehow. Tell me how committed you are to developing this new business.
So we're definitely going to have a launch in the fall. Like I mentioned, we already have a working prototype. It works pretty well. I'd be happy to show you afterwards. And then really, I want to perfect this technology and make it modular such that other people can come in and use it and take the technology and develop it for whatever fields that they're in. So I'm building it modularly. I don't want to talk too much about the scripting behind how it does the generation because I think that's really proprietary. But definitely going to work on that first.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Does, not without going into the scripting, does the scale of your business depend on you developing the algorithms, or is it something that you can build out a team and the algorithms can be developed
Definitely
from that?
Definitely going to be a team effort moving forward. So I want to get this first launch out this summer, be able to have a nice UI, so I'm going to need help with that. But in terms of like moving into other spaces away from chemistry, once we perfect that, it'll definitely be a team effort. And that's sort of where the studio comes from in Fourth Wave Studio, that we can develop a lot of different products with lower development costs than other AR platforms because we're doing it dynamically. We don't have those giant servers. We don't have to build all of those models ahead of time. Yes?
Very good presentation.
Thank you.
I have a son who's very dyslexic. This would be perfect for his, some of the issues he struggles with, so I can see it in education. But why such a sexy first topic of chemistry?
Sure. So I started developing. So I started playing around with some existing AR libraries last summer after Pokemon Go came out, and I was addicted to that shortly. So they were all sort of lacking, and if I wanted to do anything interesting, I had to print out a ton of things and come up with those targets. And so I just started playing around with the Particles API, which is a free open source API on top of Unity, to see if it was possible. And what I quickly realized is that it was, and nobody else was doing it. So I sort of came up with that myself. And again, that's why it's a studio. There's a lot of different potential projects that could come out of this. And chemistry is just really the first thing that I started experimenting with because I knew that those sort of tools existed.
You're proving concept.
Yes.
And it just happened to be convenient.
Right.
Good answer.
Great. Thank you.
So I recently was pitched on an idea with AR, not to do with chemistry, but to do with children's books.
Sure.
But one of the things that they had to do was actually they had to publish the books because the actual paper had to have certain information.
Right.
Yeah. Now, you apparently don't need to do that.
Right. So we use existing computer vision algorithms to find focus points on existing materials.
Okay.
on the bottom left corner of the video I played, you might have noticed the logo Vuforia, which is a library on top of Unity that allows that to be possible. So I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel with anything here. I'm taking a lot of things that already exist and adding my own proprietary scripting on top of it to really make it possible.
So why do you need the book publishers? Because historically they're very, very hard to work with. I mean,
Right.
Pearson is the largest, and they're just the toughest to work with for startups and everything.
Right.
So you don't really need them if you don't need them to change anything on the book itself.
Right, that's a great question. So that's one of the reasons that we're going to launch independently to begin with at GW, so we can perfect our technology and get a lot of feedback on that. And we can go to them and get their sort of reach. They have a lot of people already, and say, hey, people are really learning. It's helping a lot of different kinds of people learn a lot of different things. So this is why you should use it. And this is how it can make your books more proprietary. So we can absolutely have a key in there of some sort. Maybe you buy the textbook and you put in the key in the book into the app or something like that. But there's a lot of different ways we could go with that for sure.
I mean, I would suggest on this one is get all of the local universities to use them, let them hear from the universities, and let them approach you, because approaching them is just very difficult.
Okay, thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it. Yes?
Just to clarify again, is the university your paying customer?
No.
Chemistry department, who's paying for this?
Individual students. So right now in Dr. McCleary's class, she has a number of materials that she uses for free from different educational vendors. Students learn about those materials, and then they get free versions of it online that they buy and spend more outside the class because they learn about it there. So we're working with the department to provide free tools in their classroom that facilitate learning. And then the students learn about it. They can go online afterwards and buy it themselves and get those free premium features.
Good, so you've learned that faculty members and departments don't pay for these things.
Right, exactly. Thank you. Yes?
So dynamic generation, why aren't other AR companies doing this?
Because it's hard.
Sorry?
It's hard. I spent months on this, and it's difficult. It takes a lot of time, and there's a lot of different aspects to it. So like I said, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm not using my own computer vision. I'm not using my own sort of figuring out where the molecules go. I'm using existing physics rendering and sort of things on top of that. So it's complicated, and I'm the person to do it. So
Because?
that's
Why are you the person?
I'm just the best.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, good answer, by the way. What are some, I mean, I hate to harp on the chemistry thing, but what are some of the, I mean, what do you see? All right, if you're a visionary, where is this going? And, you know, is it wearables? Is it, you know, where are you taking it? Where do you have any idea?
Sure. So the libraries that we're using right now in Unity are all compatible with Microsoft HoloLens. So we could build it to that if we wanted to. I think there's a lot of different directions we're going, and I'm going to use the launch in the fall to definitely figure out what sort of other things people envision, and definitely use as much feedback as I can to see where other people see this technology going. So
what's your protection? I mean, what kind of IP protection do you have?
So I definitely want to work this summer on hopefully getting copyright for the scripting and the proprietary back end on it, and see what I can do with that. But again, that's just something that that I'm experimenting with now. So a lot of work to be done on that in the future. Thank you.
But most of this stuff is public libraries. I mean, libraries that are on the market that you're using, right?
Yes.
Are you adding anything proprietary to it, or are you just putting
Yes.
them all together? Because, I mean, it goes back to the same question earlier.
Yes.
When you say I'm better than everybody else.
Yes, right.
This is public. This is, if anybody else
No.
knows about these libraries, they should be able to do it, presumably.
They can use Vuforia for target recognition, and they can use the Particles API for coming up with the size of all the molecules. But nobody else is able to currently do actual dynamic generation with that information. There's a lot of scripting that comes in the back end. It's over 80,000 lines of code now.
Okay.
So what will it take to move into the next, your next iteration outside of chemistry, because it's such a niche market?
Right. So that's a great question. So again, I mentioned briefly, so it's sort of designed modularly so that we have these libraries on top and a core scripting foundation in the middle. So we can sort of remove that chemistry aspect and add other things, add other rules that we're looking for. So right now you have, if you get a C in your line structure, that's a carbon, whereas in this example, you have different sort of features for buildings and blueprints that you would have. So we put in those features instead and generate
But those
buildings on top of
libraries
that.
need to be created by somebody else.
Potentially. So it's something that I haven't experimented too much with, but I'm definitely going to be getting into really soon.
One financial question.
Yes.
If you're successful in implementing it this fall in the chemistry department here and then going to 3 new universities, where will your revenues be when you graduate next year?
So we're less focused on revenues at the current moment because I want to really take this time to make sure that the technology is really solid and get as much feedback as I can for how people envision this sort of thing being used elsewhere and how they're using it today. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.